Good morning, and thanks for tuning in to today's Next Talk. For those of you who maybe haven't heard, we have breaking news in the world of nutrition, so we wanted to produce a Next Talk as quickly as we could to get everyone the facts regarding nutrition labels, which in the past, as a county extension educator, there is some confusion in the world about nutrition labels, and hopefully these changes will help with that. And so for our presenter today, Sharon Robinson, Dr. Sharon Robinson, has graciously agreed to come and tell us the latest information, what it means, and what you can expect in the way of resources as we move forward. So having said that, Sharon, I think we should get right into it and tell us what you know about the new regulations regarding nutrition labeling.
Well, thank you for inviting me to the Next Talk series. My presentation today is called the Nutrition Facts Label, What's Different? The Food and Drug Administration has updated the Nutrition Facts Label after 20 years.
Wow, 20 years.
And according to the FDA, 70% of consumers use the nutrition packaging information when selecting new food products. So it's a big deal
Pretty
in the
important
world
to have
of
it right,
nutrition.
yeah.
The updates occurred because nutrition science has changed. Also, the eating patterns of the American population has changed. We know that people are not eating a healthful eating plan as recommended. Some nutrients we're over-consuming and some we're under-consuming. For example, we're eating too many added sugars, not enough vitamin D, and not enough potassium. This is why the Nutrition Facts label was updated to include added sugars, potassium, and vitamin D.
Okay.
This will help consumers have an informed choice so that they can select healthier food products.
Excellent.
The dietary guidelines was a big driver in this process. The dietary guidelines recommend that added sugars be no more than 10% of calories. And also big drivers were the changing in eating patterns, and those were reflected in the survey data and consumer studies. The Food and Drug Administration had proposed nutrition facts changes, and after the proposed changes were an opportunity for citizen petitions and public comments, and these were considered before the final rulemaking came out May 20th of this year.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
I've been hearing a lot of people, nutrition experts, use the word eating patterns, and I heard one nutritionist explain, what that means. When you say eating patterns, that's becoming to be a term that means something, right? What is the definition of an eating pattern?
We used to use the word diet, and then consumers pushed back that a diet was associated with weight loss or a prescription, such as a low-sodium diet.
Okay.
So then we started calling it eating plan. Now the term is eating pattern.
Okay.
So it's the typical pattern that's eaten, including food and beverages.
Okay.
So it's what we used to call a diet.
Gotcha. I like eating patterns.
Industry will have 2 years to respond and put the new Nutrition Facts label on their food packaging, and smaller companies will have 3 years to comply. They'll have to change their Nutrition Facts label to update them, and also keep records to demonstrate that they're accurate.
Interesting.
We'll have a quick overview of the Nutrition Facts panel, and then we'll talk in detail about each component.
Okay.
What strikes you when you see this change?
Calories. That's a big difference. I mean, as I look at the second one, calories stands out.
Yes.
So I guess they're trying to make a point there.
You're right. They wanted that to be front and center. So that's the biggest change, is the calories. They have also updated the serving size so that it will be in bold so consumers can find it more easily. The daily values have changed so that they're consistent with the Institute of Medicine's recommendation. Dietary fiber has been redefined. And there's an addition of added sugars, and you may have seen that in the newspapers.
Yes.
That was really picked up by the media, the addition of added sugars. Daily values have changed in that they're going to provide the amount and the daily value percentage.
Okay, so not just the percentage.
That's correct.
Okay.
So A and C are going away, and in their place will be vitamin D and potassium. And that's because as a society, vitamins A and C are no longer a problem in typical eating patterns, whereas vitamin D and potassium are.
So they really are trying to make this a nutrition tool to help people based on concerns in our eating patterns.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The nutrition facts label will still reflect a 2,000 calorie eating pattern, which is a typical rule of thumb. Individuals may need more or less than 2,000 calories depending on their age, their gender, and their physical activity level.
Okay.
So changes in serving size have really changed in the last 2 decades. A pint of ice cream used to feed 4 people. Now it feeds 3 people. So the current serving size information will reflect what is actually eaten, the realities of consumption patterns, and not recommendations. So they don't harmonize with the My Plate recommended food serving size. These are the realities of what we're doing.
So did this used to be a half cup?
For ice cream, it used to say a half cup.
I happen to know that
serving.
one. So somebody like me shouldn't say, oh, now I should eat 2/3 of a cup instead of a half a cup. That's up there because that's typically what somebody eats, and they want you to know you're getting 230 calories, not whatever it is for a half cup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And some products will reflect the packaging, such as soda, will reflect the total bottle instead of the amount of ounces
because
that are in
clearly
it.
everybody's going to drink the entire
whole
bottle. Okay.
Some food items, like single serving size of yogurt, has actually decreased. It used to be 8-ounce servings, and now they're selling us 6-ounce servings,
Yes.
so that we have fewer calories.
Okay.
The calories per container will be listed in addition to the calories per serving. So this will be an advantage on things like candy bars that come in different sizes, or the small to medium-sized bag of chips,
Yes.
where we know people often eat the entire package. There'll be the number right there, front and center, how many calories you're consuming.
Okay, so if you go buy a big grab bag of chips, it might have both
Yes.
been listed just like that. Okay, good.
The daily values have been updated. Sodium has been harmonized. It's not a lessening of the restriction of sodium, but it's bringing the number into harmony. Used to be 2,400, now it's 2,300 milligrams.
Okay.
Dietary fiber, vitamin E, calcium, and potassium have increased. And this is on the recommended dietary intakes.
Okay.
So what will happen, a consumer might look at a tub of yogurt and see that it has 20% of their daily needs for calcium. On a new label, it might say 15% of the daily value for calcium. And that's because the daily value has changed. The food manufacturers have not removed the calcium from the food product.
Got it.
So there'll be a little hiccup.
For people who are used to really reading labels, they could wonder.
Yeah. With the fats, it's still of concern to reduce the amount of saturated fat and trans fat in the diet, so that is listed on the label. But the calories from fat have been removed, and that's because we used to have an emphasis on reducing the fat calories, which has been achieved. The problem is the type of fat that we're consuming is the problem.
Right.
Dietary fiber has been redefined, so food manufacturers who are adding fiber to a food product, like a breakfast cereal, will have to prove that that fiber has biological health properties. They can't just put a fiber into a food and then drive up the number of the dietary fiber intake.
Okay.
It has to be biologically active. No trickery.
So when you see that in cereals, is it not always beneficial fiber?
Sometimes they were adding things like starch that's not digestible and calling it dietary fiber. But now it has to be healthful, or they cannot do that.
Oh,
It
good.
wasn't harmful in the past.
Right.
Just was not healthful.
Right, right.
Added sugars, that's the big thing. Added sugars will be listed as a subset of total sugars, and both the gram and the percent daily value will be listed. So for a 2,000 calorie eating pattern, you would have 50 grams of added sugar a day, and that would be 100% of your daily value. Added sugars are what manufacturers add during processing, added during preparation, or even added at the table, like sugar you sprinkle on your oatmeal in the morning.
Okay.
So the recommendation is to reduce added sugars to 10% of calories.
And probably most people are a long way from that, I would guess.
You're right. The American population in general is eating 16% of their calories in the form of added sugar. So we do need to reduce it by about a third.
Mm-hmm.
Added sugars are coming from beverages, particularly sodas, sweet drinks, and even sweet tea, and other food items that we don't really associate with added sugars. Things like peanut butter, ketchup, soups, salad dressings have added sugars. So having this information on the nutrition facts label will inform consumers so that they'll be able to reduce their added sugar intake.
That's good. That's good.
So what will be our response? Consumers over the next 2 to 3 years will be seeing both of the nutrition facts, the current ones and the redesign. Okay. So therefore, the information that we're telling our consumers on nutrition fact labeling is still true. Mm-hmm. And we're in the process of developing and identifying new materials.
Good.
What we have done is we have developed a Nutrition Facts Professional Update. It's a resource packet for agents that they can share with their wellness volunteers, their program planning committee members, and other professionals. As far as client materials, we're in the process of developing and identifying those.
Excellent. And I would think just from yours, there would be a lot of things that would have to be updated, and that's not going to all happen overnight. So we appreciate the work that the nutrition unit is doing on this. Okay, what else do agents need to know about this topic today?
Agents need to know that, as you said, the materials will be forthcoming. Mm-hmm. Right now there's some information on the Food and Drug Administration website, but there's very little beyond that at this point. They just rolled out May 20th.
When do you think they'll start seeing some of the new labeling on products?
Some of the larger food manufacturers who do just-in-time packaging, perhaps breakfast cereal, those will probably start to roll out.
Okay.
And if agents, when you go grocery shopping and you see the new labels, save those packagings because you'll need those for education events.
Good. That's a great point. Start collecting some of those new labels.
Yes.
So as just a consumer, as I listen to this, it sounds like that the labels, that the changes have been made are very positive and will help all of us make better choices.
Yes, that's the intention, to have informed choice so that we have the information necessary so that we can select healthful foods. And that those healthful foods will help us as far as maintaining our health or productivity or longevity. It's very important.
Well, Dr. Robinson, we very much appreciate you taking time to come here today and to present this and to do it quickly. It was you that proposed this topic to us, and we said, absolutely, let's get as much information out as we can. And we appreciate all your work on this so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And certainly, if our viewers have any questions, I'm going to encourage them to call you for more information. And it sounds like we are on the road to getting materials together, and this was a great overview this morning. So thank you, and thank you to the agents and specialists who watched us today, and we hope you'll tune in the next time we have a talk.
Thank you.